So be where? Sarah not coming?
She's gonna be 5 minutes late. She said we could get started.
I'm gonna grab a water. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, it breezed my chair. How lovely.
I don't have to say that long darn thing about wanting to.
I know. That's
Oh,
good.
don't jinx yourself. Not this time.
Yeah.
You're gonna send me an email regarding.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's very familiar to me.
Yeah.
But it's not tonight. Like there surely was something.
Oh, yeah.
You good? Yeah.
All right, are we ready?
Ready.
Okay. Okay, I would like to call to order the meeting of the Santa Fe Public School Board of Education, October 23rd, 2025, at approximately 5:30 p.m. We'll start with our Pledge of Allegiance and salute to the New Mexico flag, acknowledgement of tribal land, and then approval of the agenda. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Juro fidelidad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que representa una nación bajo Dios, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico as a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Saludo la bandera del Estado de Nuevo México y símbolo día de amistad perfecta entre culturas unidas. We acknowledge that our Board of Education meeting is taking place on occupied indigenous land. We acknowledge the Tesuque Pueblo lands and other tribal lands on which we stand. We honor these people, past, present, and future. We acknowledge the history and ongoing colonization of where we are sitting right now in New Mexico and in our country. We acknowledge our own place in the story of colonization. Okay, approval of the agenda. Superintendent, are there any changes to the agenda?
President Abeta, there are no changes.
Anything from the board? Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move approval.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, introduction of interpreter.
Board members, I'm Jeanette Fonseca. I'll be translating this evening, and we do have someone in the back that needs translation.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 3 is our public forum.
Board President Abeta, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Griffin. We have 5 in-house speakers and 2 emails for public forum. So I'll go over the Board of Education public forum ground rules. Public forum includes online and/or virtual participation as needed, as well as in-person comments when the board holds in-person meetings. Please listen and speak with respect. No uncivil conduct will be permitted. Please do not discuss any specific student who is not your own. No sharing of time. Self-monitor and observe the 3-minute time limit. You will receive a 30-second warning when your time is almost up. Public commentary and dialogue are allowed only during the public forum, not throughout the meeting. Please search for answers on common ground. You may speak on any topic, whether it is on the agenda or not. Your input will be taken into consideration. Please be advised that the board may discuss your issue during the meeting, but by law, the board cannot take action on items that are not on the agenda. Please do not discuss employee matters which may result in disciplinary action. Instead, notify the employee's supervisor, the Human Resources Department, or the superintendent. And with that, I'll bring up our first speaker, Lisa Christofferson.
Hello, hello. Woohoo, we got to do this more often. President Aveta, members of the board, and Dr. Griffin, the goats at Nina were a tremendous success with our students. Many classes visited to watch the goats clearing vegetation beneath the solar panels, accompanied by two charming Great Pyrenees. It was a delightful educational experience for everyone. My students loved the goats, did not like having to configure area, but it was a good learning experience. I come before you today with deep concerns regarding decisions and actions that have been made, that are done, and being proposed, future ones being proposed by the SFPS Exceptional Student Services Department. I'm trembling just a little bit because I do have some fears of retaliation, but it'll be okay because this is the right thing to do. While I am grateful for the steadfast support of our principal and assistant principals at Nino Otero, I must express serious alarm about decisions that appear to place both students and staff at risk. I've come 3 different times with the same concerns, the same classroom. I do appreciate our deputy superintendent who has tried to mitigate and help with that. Unfortunately, the problem is in one department. I'm here representing myself, not my school or this district, just my First Amendment rights. Nino Otero serves one of the highest percentages of students with IEPs, individualized education programs in this district, yet our PSS support remains minimal, 4 hours, 1 day a week, and in recent weeks, additional students with on IEPs have been reassigned from other schools to our school, further restraining our resources and heightening safety and workload concerns. I've raised these issues previously. Rather than addressing this situation appropriately, our interim director has purportedly proposed reassigning 7 students with disabilities to other campuses without parent notification. You're going to hear from some of the parents and guardians tonight. They came to the school very upset. Notification that was clearly required by IDEA, and if you want a reference, it's 34 CFR, section 300.115, and also in the procedural safeguards and parental rights, which is in the NEMAC, Title 6, Chapter 31, Special Education, Part 2, Children with Disabilities. Families have voiced legitimate safety concerns, teachers have voiced legitimate safety concerns, and now we are facing retaliatory measures. Any changes in a student placement must be justified with an IEP process. That is not happening. I urge this board and Dr. Griffin to have an immediate review of the ESS department leadership decisions regarding student placement, direct the district to survey parents, of students with IEPs, special education staff, and that those responses go to someone other than the ESS department so there's not that retaliation. I would encourage you all to meet with the parents of these kids in those classrooms because public trust is a responsibility and a privilege. I ask that you continue to uphold it through transparency, accountability, and genuine partnership with the families we serve. Thank you.
Next is Dimple Matthew.
Respected Superintendent and other board members, I am a parent of, my son goes to Nino Otero special education class, and I have recently heard from my son that there has been problems in his classroom, and I did reach out to the superintendent and the principal at Nino Otero regarding the issue. I am new to the Santa Fe public school system, so I'm not totally aware of everything that's happening in the schools, but as parent of student with disabilities, it's a little unfortunate that I have to learn what is happening in the classroom from my child. He has been he has been not wanting to go to school lately because of the issues going on in the classroom. And I am totally appreciative of the teachers who do care for students like mine, who work hard. I understand it's not an easy job to take care of our kids, so I really appreciate their hard work. But I also would want to know what is happening in the classrooms when I trust my kid to go spend even more time that he spends with me. So we had to wait at least 2 weeks before knowing that the main teacher from the classroom was absent, and it's really unfortunate to know that she was hurt and she was on medical leave. That's why she's not in the classroom. And my son comes back from school reporting that a student in the classroom is hitting other kids with things, destroying things in the classroom. I mean, it's already hard I can only speak for my child, so it's hard for him to trust people, new people who, they had a new teacher this year, from what I understand is an exceptional teacher, and he has been excited to go to school. The teacher has been doing a lot of hands-on things, life skill things, to equip my kid with, having a good future. And now it's heartbreaking to know that he doesn't have that opportunity. So I would really want to meet with the school to know what they're doing to ensure my child's safety in the classroom. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Roseanne Chang.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. My family lives in the neighborhood next to the vacant building of E.J. Martinez Elementary School. We would like to have meaningful community engagement about the fate of this site, as well as information about the upcoming school board bond. Over the past few years, our neighborhood has received little outreach from the school board or the community review committee to inform us of the plans for the site and now the plans for the permanent demolition. This does not give our neighborhood the dignity we deserve in knowing what will happen and why. We want to hear clear reasoning for the decision and supporting documents made public beyond what is currently available. The lack of engagement between the school district and our neighborhood has made our family question if voting yes to the upcoming school bond, as we have always done in the past, is the right thing to do. These bonds are social contracts between the school district administrators and the constituents. Recent decisions about the demolition of civic infrastructure show us that the school district is willing to go back on the bonds and willing to do the opposite of what the voters decided without asking the community. Why would we want to go through with a new contract with you if you leave us out of the decision process? Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mark Rendelman.
Thank you, Superintendent, Board. Thank you for all your great effort and work in dealing with this and listening to us. I'm here as another neighbor of E.J. Martinez and part of my neighborhood group that is concerned about what's happening with E.J., and I'm just going to read my letter. Apparently I sent it and I didn't know that I thought I was supposed to come read it. Dear Santa Fe School Board, I am a native of Santa Fe and was the first student to be enrolled in E.J. Martinez School. I still live near the school and have been concerned about its future. I understand that the board has decided to no longer occupy the building, and the only plan at this point is to demolish the school. I have many questions, as do many of my neighbors. My understanding was that the land was donated by Allen Stem and Associates, they were doing business as Santa Fe Holding Company, to the city for the purpose of building a school. But I have been unable to locate the original records or any records that would give the title to the school board. Our title search indicated that the land is still held by Santa Fe Holding Company, but the county records, and I sent a copy of the tax record, they show that the Board of Education, the Santa Fe Public Schools, as the owners, it also shows no deeds of record. So there's no chain of title that we can see how it comes to be. I'm looking for clarification because my understanding is that there were covenants and restrictions placed on the land which may determine what can happen on the property now. I have also heard rumors about what may be considered for the future of the property, and I wonder if the board is open to considering other possible options, such as allowing a charter school to take over the property. Also, the money proposed for demolition might be sufficient to repair the building sufficiently to allow for other beneficial uses, like to rent it out or to have other people take care of the building. Have adequate studies been done with cost estimates sufficient to make an informed decision? I look forward to hearing from you, and thank you for your considerations.
Next up is Deborah Trujillo.
Good evening, members of the board, President Abeyta, Superintendent Griffin. I didn't prepare anything formally, but I'm just going to go based off things that I've observed and things that I would like to let you guys know what's going on. I am here specifically about the life skills class at Nino Otero Community School, the upper division life skills class. I raise a granddaughter who is on the spectrum. She is nonverbal. It was brought to my attention recently that we have no primary teacher in the classroom due to reasons that she got hurt that I just found out about. I have reached out to Dr. Cynthia Maynard and have gotten no response. I have talked to the principal at the school. We got an email last Thursday, and that was after the fact that I had to go and ask them what was going on in the classroom. It's very concerning for me because there's rumors that they're looking at moving our kids to different schools right now. There's a total of 8 school children in that classroom. Now, I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with people on the spectrum or other disabilities that they have, but these kids are very schedule-based. They are so routine-based. Any simple thing, Malaya could have a different sock on that's not her proper sock, and it throws off her entire day. She is thriving right now at Nino Otero with the people that she has there now. And it's very disheartening to hear that they might be moved to different schools without an IEP, without things that are going on and that we're not made aware of. Everybody focuses on communication. We've had no communication from anyone at all whatsoever about what's going to happen at this classroom. I am very appreciative of the teachers that we do have there, the aides that we have there, but something has to be done. Something has to be done for our children that don't have a voice of their own. We are their voice. We are here advocating for them. We want them to thrive. We want the life skills that they can go out into the world and learn these things that our teachers, our schools that are supposed to be teaching them. I mean, I was born and raised here in Santa Fe. I went to all the public schools myself. I graduated from Capitol High School. I want my granddaughters, my grandkids, all the other parents out here that have kids with special needs to be able to see their kids be able to do this. And if we get no type of support from, or even communication from Dr. Cynthia Maynard, from anybody, how are we supposed to to know the future of our kids for this classroom. So we would appreciate any type of support you can give us with this class so our kids do not have to suffer to be moved to. They built a friendship. There's 7 of them. They built a friendship. They're used to each other. They want to move forward in life, and we're hoping to give them these tools to do that. Thank you.
Okay, and we had an in-house speaker that did send the email, so we only have one tonight, from Tony M. Dear members of the board, my name is Tony, and I'm a resident and concerned voter in the Santa Fe Public School District. I'm here today to urge voters to vote no on the $150 million bond measure on the November 2025 ballot. My opposition is based on the following serious concerns. Violations of the Opens Meeting Act. The bond language was not properly noticed in accordance with the New Mexico Open Meetings Act during the August 14, 2025 board meeting. The agenda lacked a clear and specific description of the vote on the bond. It was disguised under the title of Facilities Master's Plan. This failure to provide adequate public notice undermines transparency and public trust in the process. Number 2, conflict of interest and failed housing policies. Conflict of interest and failed housing policies board from President Roman Tiger Abeyta, who currently serves as CEO of the Santa Fe Community Housing Trust, has been a central figure in Santa Fe's affordable housing policy for over 2 decades. His dual role raises serious concerns about conflicts of interest, especially as the bond includes millions of dollars allocated for teacher housing development, a domain directly tied to his professional interests. More importantly, Mr. Abeyta's long-standing influence on Santa Fe's housing strategy has not delivered the promised results. Despite years of leadership and public investment, the city continues to face a worsening housing crisis. We must question whether continuing down the same path will yield different outcomes. Misplaced priorities, administration over students. The bond's largest single line item is $35 million for a new administrative building, and the figure only covers phase 1, which is projected to be complete just 60% of the facility. The full cost could exceed $60 million. Meanwhile, urgent needs in classrooms and student facilities are being sidelined. New Mexico consistently ranks near the bottom in national education outcomes. In this context, it is unacceptable to prioritize administrative infrastructure over direct investments in students, teachers, and learning environments. Our focus must be on improving educational outcomes, not expanding bureaucracy. Long-term debt without a clear plan. This bond increases the district's debt load by 50% compared to previous cycles, with no detailed plan for how funds will be allocated or how outcomes will be measured. While officials claim there will be increase, the reality is that rising property values will still result in higher tax bills for homeowners. In closing, I urge voters to carefully consider this bond. We must demand transparency, accountability, and student-centered investment. Let's not rush into another massive financial commitment without a clear, equitable, and community-driven plan. Thank you for your time. Please vote no on the bond. Thank you, Tony M. And that concludes public forum.
Okay, thank you. Our next item on the agenda is our union update. Is there anybody from the union here? Okay, then board announcements and follow-up. Anything from the board? Board Member Heffron.
Thank you, President Abeyta and board. Dr. Griffin and I were able last week to attend here in this building. We were attending the tribal forum. I want to say forum. It had a different name perhaps, but the tribal consultation with an incredible slide presentation. Essentially, the tribal community was here seeking both the school board and the greater community's input to how to better incorporate in our curriculum and activities those values that Native American traditions hold, those values, and how can we include them further in what we already have. I was happy to learn that students are indeed now able, they do miss school when they have participation in their own cultural heritage programs that are not done in the school system, but in their own communities or pueblos. And we exactly excuse them so that they can attend. I would also like to give thanks to Nancy Robal, who organized this for us, and the 7 other, Beata is one of them, administrative staff, because I then took a look at the Santa Fe Schools Tribal Education Status Report, an incredibly comprehensive report, page after page, analytical, detailed to the nth degree, showing how the public schools are addressing this community, how well we're doing, where we're weak, where we're strong, and where we need to keep going. And I would like to thank you, because that was an incredible report to take a look at later. I also wanted to thank Girls Inc. once again, because I was able to attend one of their celebrations recently at the Scottish Temple. And one of the girls who was honored by Girls Inc. this year, her name is Lita Larson. She's 15 years old, and she's a student at Mandela. She's been working with Girls Inc. since she was 7 years old. So for 8 years, she's been doing this. I wanted you to know that she also attends the summer programs that they offer. And just to keep everybody up to date, this organization, which you know I love to look at the community groups who are participating with our students in the schools. Santa Fe Opera is a good one. Girls Inc. is another one. They are currently serving 14 schools in Santa Fe. They have 27 different groups of kids that they put together. And 75 of those girls, they are also participating in after-school programs. So on a weekly basis, they are serving over 500 girls in our public schools. And I would like to make sure we applaud them and thank them for doing that. Additionally, this is also was repeated in the newspaper the other day, but the Center for Applied Linguistics, CAL as it's known, which is a nonprofit focused on bilingual and dual education research, they reported that New Mexico's science of reading legislation considered multilingual learners within several administrative and instructional considerations. Of the 8 considerations that are tracked nationwide, New Mexico has addressed 4 of them, and only 2 other states of the 50 can say that they have met this mark. So I want to make sure we understand that we are definitely paying attention to our multilingual learners, with also our literacy legislation that we support when the sessions are in place. Last, perhaps, but not least, I would like to make sure we understand that there are several students, successful students. They're now currently applying for scholarships, for instance, as seniors in our high schools. And they are facing continuously ridiculous problems that we all think, oh, can that really be true? Regardless of their race or ethnicity, if students are not white, they're still experiencing in our schools discrimination, isolation, belittlement by peers, and their skin color, hair texture, and home language are belittled and made fun of. Many of these students in our public schools work with their families. They go to jobs on the weekends, and I know students who work at the hotels here with their families cleaning rooms. They care for younger siblings, and they act as translators for their parents, especially when medical needs need to be met. They're also tutoring and playing sports and maintaining high grade point averages, and yes, they are now applying for scholarships. I would like to applaud our students who are overcoming the diverse challenges that they have faced year after year, wherever they have been in school, including in Santa Fe, and applaud their efforts to continue their education, and I hope they all get scholarships. Thank you.
Thank you. Other board announcements. Board Member Bozay.
Thank you, President Abeyta. I just have a couple quick announcements. On Saturday at 1 o'clock, there is a mural dedication at the Southside Teen Center. Several Santa Fe Public School students worked on that mural over the month of June, and it's really, really incredible, and I hope the community shows up for that. I will be there. After that, if you're looking for a day of fun, the El Dorado Community School is having their fall carnival, and I'm really pleased that they are also doing a vaccine clinic for adults and children at their fall carnival. So you can get COVID vaccines and flu vaccines that afternoon, 3 to 5. And then a shout out to the 29 students from El Dorado Community School who were selected for the Regional Honor Band. That is the highest number from any school. So kudos to those kids. I just got that email this afternoon. And their band director, Mr. Chrisman. Thank you.
Dr. Gonzalez.
President Abeyta, members of the board, Superintendent Griffin. I did meet with Mark Rendelman a few weeks ago about E.J. Martinez and tried to dispel some rumors. There was a rumor that we were going to be having homeless shelter there, or something like that. And I have promised that I would keep him informed as we move forward. And the only thing I said was the only thing that we have so far is that it's going to be demolished. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Bozay.
Thank you. Dr. Gonzalez, I can just add to that when the CRC discussed the allocation and the recommendations for the demolition, there was a clear point from the committee that they want the community engaged before that moves forward. So that will definitely happen. There's nothing scheduled right now, but the committee was very clear that we need to sit down and talk with the community before that happens.
Okay, any other board announcements? Okay, then let's move on to superintendent announcements and follow-up.
Thank you, President Abeyta. Board members, the second listening and learning tour is happening this Tuesday at ECO at 5:30. We'll have interpretation and childcare available, and also a hybrid option if people want to pop in via Google Meets. Last week, our public education department released overall assessment results for the school year 24-25 in language arts, math, and science. Overall, we are seeing continued growth in language arts. Our scores remain stable in math, and we saw a slight decline in science, and we're working on a detailed presentation for November. Upcoming election is on November 4th. Please remember that election day, that our schools are closed, and please go vote. And last, the district is happy to welcome Mr. Robert Ulgain to serve as our interim director of safety and security. Mr. Ulgain brings a wealth of experience that will support the safety and security of our staff, students, and stakeholders. Welcome. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda are action items. First is our consent items. We have 6 items under consent. Are there any questions or anything we need to highlight on the consent items before I ask for a motion? Can I have a motion regarding the consent items?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so that brings us to item B, which is the Art Smart New Mexico donation of $25,000.
President Abeyta, Dr. Weaver will take this one.
Good evening, President Abeyta, members of the board, Dr. Griffin. What we have in front of us is the Art Smart New Mexico donation ArtSmart New Mexico and Santa Fe Public Schools Art Department are pleased to announce a donation in the amount of $25,000 for use by the Art Department Visiting Artist Program. The Visiting Artist Program brings local professional teaching artists into classroom studios, creating opportunities for students and teachers to experience new skills, media, concepts, and culture through hands-on studio arts project. The district would like to thank ArtSmart for this donation, and we recommend acceptance of a check in the amount of $25,000.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board?
President Abeyta, I move acceptance of this wonderful check.
Is there a second?
I second.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item C is Resolution 2025-2026-7 against gun violence and for safer school communities. Vice President Noble.
Thank you very much, President Abeyta. I no longer see Jen Evertson. So I guess I will go ahead and say that as our cover sheet indicates, this is a resolution affirming our commitment to protecting students, staff, and families from gun violence. We have seen growing impact of firearm issues among youth, and we have had plenty of scares for many of us, too many. The resolution endorses safe gun storage, education, student-led WAVE initiatives, and I can't quite say what WAVE stands for. I'm wondering if Board Member Bose knows.
I do. I have a WAVE student. Wellness Ambassadors.
Oh, see, you made a promise you couldn't
I
quite.
know. Something empowerment.
Yes.
Voicing empowerment.
Wellness Ambassadors Voicing Empowerment. Okay, I
That's
love it.
That could work, right?
And it encourages participation in the student pledge against gun violence, as well as what I think is perhaps our most important thing, which is a culture of safety and responsibility to see something and say something. In other words, to lean in our community knowledge. There's almost always someone who knows something ahead of a moment of gun violence. I want to, hey. I want to also sort of emphasize we've done this a number of years in a row, and ultimately, you know, supporting the efforts of the Office of Student Wellness. They've done incredible work, including these WAVE groups, bringing awareness as well as doing education about best practices with gun storage, ammunition storage, that sort of thing, and engaging. The best part about this is engaging the students to really do something about this issue that many of them care so much about. I would love to ask Jen Jefferson to come up and tell us a little bit about the WAVE group, the Pledge Against Gun Violence Prevention Week, and anything else you'd like to share on this.
There we go. President Abeyta, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Griffin, it's an honor to be here. So WAVE is Wellness Ambassadors to Voice and Empower. It's a program at many of our middle schools and high schools, and students choose to be part of the group, and they have a faculty sponsor, and then we have district staff that support those sponsors and put forward both district initiatives and also kind of guide the groups. I actually spent all day with about 50 of our high school WAVE members for our fall summit, where we did presentation on mental health. We did one on flipping your lid. If you haven't ever heard of that, I encourage you to Google it. It's pretty cool. And so we had a great day with those students. We'll be doing the middle school on Monday. So we do institutes. We bring them together both to connect with each other, to work on kind of joint projects, and also provide educational workshops. We take the students to the legislature. We teach them about how a bill becomes a law, how even though most of them aren't 18, they can still advocate and still have a voice in our, whole process throughout the state, our legislative process. And each group at school sites will do our district initiatives, which in September, there's suicide prevention efforts. We have a reach out campaign, also a Seize the Awkward, that really is about connecting with their peers and reaching out for support when they need it, offering support. We have our, in the kind of, that's one end of things, and then on the other end, in the spring, we always do a campaign that really is a DWI prevention campaign, but we call it What's Your Party Plan? And having students think about, okay, when I'm going to prom, who's my driver? Who's gonna be my safe driver? Who's my backup? What's my backup plan? Which adult am I gonna call if I get into trouble? Do my friends and I have a plan to watch each other's back? So really helping them think out and plan for safety for themselves so that they can make good choices in the moment as well. And so we take the students to the roundhouse, and then we have different little workshops based on what each group at each school wants to focus on. So in addition to these district-wide things, each school might be doing different things. If one school says, we have a real issue of bullying here, let's focus on that. Some want to focus on coping skills and managing stress. Some want to focus on gun violence prevention, suicide prevention, substance use prevention. But one of the really great things that make WAVE what it is that it's youth-driven. The youth get to have a voice, and because they know best what's going on and what they and their peers need. But we have a leadership council of high school students that come together, sometimes as often as once a week, and they plan out what we're gonna do as WAVE. They raise what's going on in their schools and bring it together. We train them, and then they facilitate activities, they facilitate different projects at their school. And one of the things that we've done every year related to this is our Gun Violence Prevention Week. It's not a national week, it's a district week. We've decided a few years ago, we're like, we want to do more across the board to really focus on preventing gun violence. And an important part of that kind of campaign, if you will, is that we're not anti-hunting, we're not even anti-gun, but it's about anti-gun violence, anti-using firearms to solve disputes. So the Student Pledge Against Gun Violence is one of the biggest things we do during that week. There is a little kid version, and there's a big kid version. The little kid version is pledging if they see a gun to tell a grown-up not to touch it, that sort of thing. The teen version, if you will, is about promising never to bring a gun to school, to never use a firearm, to settle a personal dispute, to not use it for violence. And so each year we do that, we sign it. We even have many board members. In fact, many of you up here have already signed it in the past. And community members and school staff can sign it as well as staff members. So we do that every year. We put out a packet that we give to the schools and to teachers that gives developmentally appropriate ways to talk about staying safe. And so they can choose if they want to incorporate that into their lessons and their standards and whatever they're working on in any subject. And that, of course, the teacher decides if they want to do that. And then we have different events in different years. So we haven't set the exact week for Gun Violence Prevention Week this year, but we are planning on doing the pledge again. And we are definitely going to focus on, if you think about for young people, what can they do literally in the moment about gun violence, is that one, they can sign that pledge and they themselves cannot use firearms to solve disputes. Beyond that, though, how much else control do they have? Well, one thing they can do is see something, say something. If there's something that is a concern, that is a threat, is a suspicion, they can report that. So this year we're gonna continue to emphasize the importance of that, because they are often the ones that see some of those warning signs first and can identify a threat. And so we're gonna be definitely pushing that campaign as well. And as Board Member Bozé mentioned, we are having our kind of grand unveiling with the augmented reality component of that mural. And we brought students together, and that was a mural about both mental health and living with mental health challenges and helping stay, healthy well-being, healthy physically, healthy mentally, but also about interpersonal violence and gun violence and preventing that. So the mural is also about gun violence and mental health. I'm happy to stand for any more questions. I know I just rattled off a lot.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Oh,
Can I ask a question? Because you mentioned earlier that this has been going on for several years now, this program, and I have not been on the board then. So how long have you been working at this with this program?
So WAVE specifically has been around since 2000. It's gone through other names. It was something, and then it was squads, and then it was Student Wellness Action Team, or SWAT, for a little while, and then we shifted to WAVE, Wellness Ambassadors to Voice and Empower. So the whole WAVE program has been going on for many, many years. I'm not sure how far back our gun violence resolutions go, but several years back for sure.
It was very impressive when I read this document. I was thrilled to read it and appreciate the work the board has done previously, obviously, on supporting this initiative. Thank you.
Okay, anything else, Vice President Noble?
Just to wrap up and to say, it is so wonderful to run into these students in the roundhouse, which I have done a number of times. It's really inspiring, and again, as sort of grassroots, it's good governance, even the way it's sort of directed by the groups at each schools according to the need. There's a lot here that we can look at, most crucially, of course, the safety and mental well-being of our students. But I really just want to say a huge thank you to Jan Jevertson, the Office of Student Wellness, for doing this work, for bringing this forward. The board has continued to prioritize the mental well-being, as we all know, and we've seen some worrying trends in that and in what our students have exhibited. So this just feels more important than ever. And again, I thank the Office of Student Wellness, the students who do the work on this. It's so amazing, and I would encourage the board to pass this resolution.
Okay, anything else from the board? Is there a motion regarding the resolution?
President Abeyta, I move to approve Resolution 2025/2026-7 against gun violence and for safer schools communities.
I second.
There's a motion and there's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so that brings us to board discussion and possible action. Is there any board discussion and possible action? Board Member Bozay.
Thank you, President Abeyta, members of the board, Dr. Griffin. I just have a couple things that I wanted to bring forward. I've heard a handful or more of concerns, and these are things that have been on Dr. Griffin's radar, I think, but I just want to talk a little bit. There were some changes in graduation requirements, and we approved our local graduation requirements last year, and that's made things a little bit sticky. As the parent of a freshman, and therefore my friend group exists of a lot of parents of freshmen, and so there are two things that I know that happened. Both the health class and the New Mexico history class are not required to be year-long classes, but those freshmen were enrolled in year-long classes for those two courses, and were told we just took the semester-long curriculum and stretched it out over the year. That's what they've been told by folks at Santa Fe High, and that doesn't feel like excellence to me. The kids do not feel like they should have to have a whole year of health class. Half the time they're sitting around on their phones. That's the reports that I'm getting from parents who have very engaged students who would like to be taking other classes. And so we already have enough of a challenge trying to get kids to be engaged and interested, and Santa Fe High is full of amazing teachers who I think would love to teach semester-long classes if we gave them the opportunity. And so it's sort of twofold of let's really hold ourselves to those standards of excellence, and let's engage the people doing the work closest to the work, like the classroom teachers, when we're making those sorts of decisions, because I think that they could have been very creative and excited about designing semester-long classes so that this situation didn't have to exist, and kids could have more opportunities for electives that were engaging to them, instead of things that are not required for graduation by the state of New Mexico. So that's one thing. A second thing are the lunch times. I have talked to Dr. Griffin about this, and I'm bringing it up here because I'm hoping that the board can sort of support Dr. Griffin to be empowered to, I think she's had a challenging time because a lot of this stuff happened before she was on board. And so she's shown herself to be a wonderful collaborative leader, and done lots of listening and learning and understanding the culture of the district. And I am so appreciative of that. And I also just would love for you to take charge and work on improving some of these things that have kind of gotten a little messy in this last 6 months or so. So those two things. Lunch is not long enough. Kids are not eating. I don't know what quite happened with that. There's long wait times. We spent all this money building a beautiful commons room, and kids don't have time to eat lunch. I don't quite understand if that's a staffing thing or what the issue is, but we know that hungry kids don't learn, and we have free meals, and I just would love to see our students being fed as much as possible. And I don't know if that happens at other schools, but I know that it's happening at Santa Fe High. And then I'm wondering, it is a little bit early, but it seems to get earlier every year to start to think about capital outlay requests and priorities. So I don't know if we want to put that on an agenda for a future meeting. I have some ideas, but I can hold them if we would like to add that onto the agenda for the future. And maybe Dr. Griffin should just check with staff about the deadline for that so we can plan accordingly, because we don't want to miss that opportunity. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Gonzalez.
I was just looking up the, when the capital outlay has to be in, and I looked it up for some other committee I'm on, and I'll find it and send it to you all.
Great, thank you. Okay, any other, yes, Vice President Noble.
Just to sort of tie this all together, I think that I heard a request from Board Member Bozé to put sort of legislative priorities and capital outlay on as a discussion item, which of course is our best practices for the Open Meetings Act. And just to say, of course, that is the intended purpose of this item on the agenda, is that so that we don't individually make random requests, not random, but requests of the superintendent, and this gives a moment for, at least 3 of us to agree that we want something to happen, and we can discuss it in more substance with putting an item on the agenda in the future, this being the time when we raise issues. And I heard that one, and I would validate that I'd love to talk about this. I do know that the governor's deadline for capital outlay was the end of the calendar year last year, so it'll come up real fast. And Board Member Bozé, I don't know if there's exploratory stuff or anything you want to bring up from the other issues that you addressed, but again, just to say, as a process that I think does work to sort of streamline things and make sure that you have a majority of the board wanting to talk about things, that's a good practice there.
Okay, any other board discussion and possible action? Okay, so let's take a look at our advanced planning, our calendar. We do have an audit committee meeting, audit exit meeting scheduled for November 6th at noon. Then our next board meeting, it looks like, will be November 13th with a tentative executive session at 4:30. There's a Partners in Education meeting on November 18th, and then CRC November 19th. Okay, so if there's any other thing regarding advanced planning? Okay, then with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.